Hello and welcome back to Broader Financial Future. Hopefully you're having an amazing day so far. In today's video, I wanted to cover two important concepts to know before you buy any stock. Is really what you need to know before you buy stocks, because a lot of times people will buy stock, but they don't have all the information. And you'll never have all the information, but I want to cover two important concepts I think everyone should know. In addition, make sure you smash that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. And hit that like button. It helps our channel grow. And stay tuned for more. All right, folks, we are back. And before we get started, I do have to do a quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only, and any investment may involve risk. So let's jump into today's video. So I really wanted to talk about two important concepts when it comes to investing. And our first concept is entry price. I know it sounds redundant, but you got to know how much you're willing to spend for any stock that you buy. And it doesn't matter if you watch my videos or someone else's videos. This is going to be important because at the end of the day, a good stock can be a bad stock if you buy it at the wrong price. Now, there's a lot of ways to value a company. I'm just going to give guys just a couple of quick little tips. I do look into more details as far as like what I look into, but something real easy to look at is the 50-day moving average, the 200-day moving average, and the 52-week high. I like to look at those matrix as a quick tip for myself to kind of see, um, is it trading at its 50-day moving average, its 200-day moving average, or is it above its 52, or is it at its 52-week high? Typically, I like to buy a stock um, um, at its 50-day or 200-day moving average and below its 52-week high. I do not like to buy a company when it's at its 52-week high, because it's basically you're paying a premium price. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to pay that premium price. If I believe in a company, I still believe it's undervalued, I may still buy it below or at the high price. So let's take a company like Amazon, for example. Uh, Depending on where you're watching this video, these numbers are going to change. But right now, the price of Amazon is basically almost $3,600 per share. Now, when you look at the 52-week high, it's trading below its 52-week high of 3773,000, and it's trading above its 50-day and 200-day moving average. So even though the company is trading at a discount after its recent earnings, it's still trading at a premium above its 50-day and 200-day moving average. But this is a company that you have to realize is Amazon. Do you believe in this company? Because it still may be a discount, right? So if you go to the car dealership, there's some cars, even when it's used, you might have to pay more because it comes with a higher value. Not all stocks are the same, and not all cars are the same. So you have to look at that stock and say, well, this is Amazon. I believe in it long term. So even though it's trading a little bit of a premium when it comes to the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, you might want to look at other matrix like the PE ratio. When you do your research, compare this to other companies in the tech sector and say, okay, I believe this company is worth $5,000. That's just, for example, I'm just going to throw that out there. You doing your research, you're going to say, okay, it's still trading below um, what I believe the cost is. So let's look at another screen here. So when you go to Yahoo Finance, they have a 1-year price target of $4,241. So if you're looking at their number and based on your own research, you might say, okay, Amazon is still cheap. I'm willing to pay its current value. So this is just one way, a quick way that I look at numbers as far as like when I do more, before I do more research, I like to kind of see what are the PE ratios, the 52-week high, the 50-day moving average, and 200-day moving average. In addition, I do other matrix and things of that nature to kind of figure out at what price I'm willing to pay for this company. So that's very key. So it doesn't matter who video you're watching, you have to ask yourself how much you're willing to pay for that particular stock. In addition, when you figure out how much you're willing to pay, this is key as well. That a lot of times people they neglect is really your exit price, right? Depending on what company I'm buying, sometimes like if it's a dividend company, I don't really have an exit price. I plan on buying and hold forever. But if it's more so like a speculative company, then say for example, I might just say, okay, I believe the company is going to be worth $30 in the future. If I double my money, I'm going to exit, right? Or I think it's going to be worth 40% more. Whatever that number is, you have to be comfortable with it, right? So I'm gonna give you a real world example here. This is a company I owned. It was Lucid Motors, or it is Lucid Motors, right? I was buying it at 15, 18, and 17, and a little below. So I was buying it at that price, and I believe the stock was going to go to 30. And it went to 30 really quick. It hit $30 really like a month into buying the company. And I sold um, the majority of the shares that I had in this company quicker than I thought I would. But even after I sold it at 30, the company stock continued to climb. I still had shares in it, but the company stock continued to climb. So you have to be okay selling a stock at a win because you don't want to be a sore winner, right? I basically doubled my money in the stock. I think it shot up almost to like $50, right? But in the end, it ended up tanking. I believe now the stock is worth about, depending on what day, 23, 24, sometimes 25. So I still sold it at a higher value than what it's at now. So you have to be comfortable knowing that, okay, I bought the stock for $100. I believe it's going to be 150. When they hit 150, you have to ask yourself, okay, it hits your price, the number that you want. And even if you sell at 150 and you get a 50% gain, you have to be okay with that stock reaching 200% or $200, $300, because those are the numbers that you set. Because sometimes it doesn't always happen the way that you think it will. Because sometimes a stock can go down. You can buy it for $100 and it goes to 150 and you hold. The next thing you know, it's like 90, 80, 70, and so forth. So it's important to know how much you're willing to pay for a company. That's number one. Number two is how much you're willing to sell it for. What is your exit price? Let's look at another company here where the stock is just all over the place, and that's GameStop. As you can see, these numbers are fluctuating, right? The 52-week low. If you bought this company at its low point, basically $4, you're just winning all over the place, right? But if you bought it at its high of almost $500, you're losing. So you have to really realize how much the company's worth. You don't want to get caught up in this euphoria of just everything's going up, and you get caught in a wave of, well, I'm just going to buy now without really understanding what the value of a stock is. So whoever advice you're listening to, make sure you understand what that value is, because someone can still give you good advice and you buy that stock at a good price. But if you don't know when to leave, you can still lose money because you don't know what the value is. Like say for example, you bought it at because the price was jumping up and down. Even after it went uh to its high, it dropped down almost to like 40, $50. And that was like a new, it was still above the $4, but it dropped dramatically for the people who bought it for over $100, right? But then it shot back up again. So you need to know what is your extra price. I know people in GameStop who believe in it strongly, and their stocks has been going up and down, but for that person, they believe it's going to go higher. They believe it's going to hit almost 1,000, and they're holding, and they're still in the green because their average price is below um, the current value. So you have to ask yourself how much that stock is actually worth to you, and how much are you willing to sell, and whatever that is, you have to believe in it, but really believe in your research. And sometimes you have to reevaluate a situation too, because sometimes I'll buy a stock and the fundamentals change. There's been times I bought a company for one reason, and the next thing you know, for all the reasons I bought that company, new information comes out and I realize, okay, that value is not going to be the same anymore. Sometimes I might have to sell a company for a loss. I could be right in my beliefs, but things can change where I'm going to exit the position, or things will change where, oh man, this is still at a discount. So you have to ask yourself how much you're willing to pay and how much you're willing to sell it for. And it's such a key thing when it comes to stocks. A lot of people just buy stocks because they're just buying it, um, but know what's your why. I guess it's the most important thing. And overall, those are like the things to look out for. And really, some of my final thoughts are when you buy a company, a stock, like I said previously, it's like buying a used car or going to the store, buying any item. Uh, if you have to haggle for a price, know the value. If you don't know the value, you can end up paying anything because you don't know what it's worth. And if you know what a stock is worth or what you perceive, because you never really know what it is, but what it's worth for you, right? Because uh, $100 might not be high for GameStop or whatever company you're trying to buy. It can still be cheap because you might see something someone else don't. So even if you buy it at the 52-week high, that can still be cheap because that stock can still go up if you believe in it and you've done the fundamentals. You just got to make sure you do your own research and you know what you're going to do with that stock. But last but not least, I can say, when in doubt, um, more than not, if you hold long term, your stock could typically go up unless you just buy some garbage stock. But for the most part, if you did your research and it's a good company, uh, 8 out of 10 times, if you hold, when in doubt, hold, that stock could potentially go up. But you just got to know, you got to know that particular company and really just kind of stay up to date on it. But besides that, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Let me know when you buy a stock, do you typically know how much you're willing to pay for it, and what is your exit strategy, or do you just buy a stock because you've seen a YouTube video or you've seen it somewhere else? Because keep in mind, even if you watch a YouTube video, I watched YouTube videos in the past where someone said buy a stock, and depending on when you're watching that video, that price changed, including my own. Um, so when that video was produced, the price could have been X, and then when you're finally watching that video, the price might be something different. So it's good to kind of see what's that current value of the stock is. We can kind of make that determination of, is it a good time to buy or not? And if it's not a good time to buy, you can always, there's companies I want to buy, I put on my watch list, and then if it hits that target, like McDonald's is a perfect example. I wanted to buy McDonald's, but it was too high at the time, and I wanted to get to like 205, 210. I hit that number, and that's when I bought in. So once you know, but you have to be realistic, right? Because sometimes these companies never go down, depending on what company it is. And sometimes I'll buy a company regardless if it's close enough, right? Uh, I've learned my lesson when it comes to WWE. There was a time I was going to buy it for like $18. I did my research, and typically in November, the stock will go down a little bit, and it then end up shooting up during that period. It shot down now, but during that period, almost $100. Um, so don't be cheap sometimes. If it's close to your number, you might want to consider buying it, but you just got to make sure whatever decision that you decide, you can live with it, because that's the most important thing. Well, that's all I got to say. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, like. Until next time, everybody, have a good one. Peace.